G'day guys, welcome back to Bushka on Blitz. Here today to have a look at a few little tips and tricks to help you explode less often and in a far less violent manner. Now this little Ferdinand here has extended a touch too far. He's been very aggressive because he's got support behind him. But you'll note I've been quite aggressive here in a T62A. The reason being that I can get around and use this Ferdinand as my cover. Now the two red arrows there will indicate where the enemy is. I am keeping the Ferdinand between myself and harm's way. He cannot turn his tracks towards me because I am body to body with him. They cannot shoot me because I am hiding behind his hull and superstructure and I have support on my right. Always important to note that you should be doing things like that. Use the enemy tanks as a good source of cover when possible. If you want to shoot anyone anywhere, shoot them right here, in the drive wheel. There. Stops them, keeps them stock still, makes it impossible for them to move, and leaves them as a very easy target, especially when you're brawling with enemy medium tanks like that. If you can't shoot them in the drive wheel, ram them. This is a 120 odd ton E100 into a T62A that's 35 tons. That's nearly 600 damage, and it tracked him. Now, talking of tracking tanks for fun and profit, on mines, every time you play mines, you should be going hill if you're in a medium. The reason being it's the most important strategic point on the map. If you own that hill, it gives everyone else a chance to win the game. You will get maps like this where you get a lamer like that Pershing sitting in respawn, doing nothing, and you've got to take on two mediums at a time. You're probably going to die. That's the good news. But if you're going to stay alive, what you're going to do is keep these two enemy mediums in range and view of your supporting heavies and tank destroyers. That means you've got to try and bottle them up in this little spot here. To do that, you can bounce them or run into them very hard on the point in the corner of their tracks. That'll track him. And then put a shot in the drive wheel. That'll track him. You'll see the Centurion will get lit up pretty hard here by that E100. Papa. And we'd put another one into him there. All we're doing is trying to stay alive here, trying to bounce shots. I'm going to use the T-54 for cover from the Centurion so he can't hit me. Get another one into him, and then juke a shot from that T-54 and let the rest of my team finish him off. Congratulations, Papa. Wonderful stuff. And here we go on Rockfall. Neo Skyler and the IS-7. Saying g'day. Now this is an interesting one, not because I do anything spectacular here. This is more to illustrate a tactical point on this map. Now I like to get up here and I'll jump on the top of the hill, take a spot, and whoa, I see a T62A. Now he's going to hit me. That bunker for me is the key to this map, and I'm going to show you why. He bangs one into me there. If we stop the video, I want to show you what it's like when you get to that bunker in a medium tank, and the kind of power it gives you. It lets you dominate this top side of the map. It lets you spot whoever comes within range of that, and it lets you re-camo and re-stealth and pop back out and shoot. Now that's a death trap there where I am right now. If he's a reasonable medium driver, and I don't see why he wouldn't be if he's gone to that spot, it's going to hammer me. I'll show you an example of that right now. I'm in an E50M here. Now, exactly the same situation. The last one was T62A on T62A. This is E50M on E50M. It's worth noting that I run a camo net on the E50M, so it really does mean when I go stealth, I'm totally stealth. Now what I'm doing is I'm resetting my camo. That means I jump off the map. I'm no longer spotted by the enemy, and you'll see the light bulb goes off. I wait, I let it reset, I push back out, I get another free shot, pull back in, light bulb goes off. He's seen me, I let that reset. Now you can see they're going to push up. This spot means that I will constantly keep these guys spotted. I'll constantly be pumping rounds into the side of the tank. It won't let them settle effectively and shoot back at my enemy forces, at the enemy forces. And it'll give everyone else on the other side an opportunity to shoot them. It's a real game changer, this spot here. You can constantly see me. The light bulb goes off, I wait, I re-camo, I move back out, pump another one into him. Now the way to stop this is you have to have a tank right at this bunker from the enemy force. Now in the last game, you may not have noticed, but there's 2 T-54s in that game, as well as myself in the T-62A. And neither of those guys went in this bunker, and I assumed one of them would. Now, this is your only issue here. If they go down the bottom of the map and they can see that, then the best thing to do is just basically back off whenever there's an opportunity that you're going to get hammered. But basically that JPZ E100 helps me out there. You can see this is just terrible. I'm going in. I've got good cover from the bushes. I'm re-camoing very successfully, constantly just pumping rounds into these guys. And I'm not too worried now about the even being spotted, because I'm basically hull down in a tier 10 medium, popping rounds over the top. This poor old Tiger 2. Look at the view. I can see all the way back into that narrow defile there. So that's why if you see tanks in this spot, in the game, you need to stop and rethink about where you are in your tank. You really don't want to get stuck with someone who knows what they're doing, re-camoing there. So that's why in this game, back to the Neo Skylar game, I know it's going to hurt me. I know I'm going to get hammered for it. I'm trying to reset camo right here so I can possibly take less damage. But neither of these T-54s have moved up to that bunker, and that T-62 knows what he's doing. So what I'm going to do is push, take the hits, and I'm going to nose right up to that bunker. And what that means is he will be permanently spotted. He won't be able to sneak out. You can see it's going to hurt me, but he won't be able to sneak out. He won't be able to do damage, and all he's going to be able to do is hide there. It also lets me spot the other guys on the other side of the map and keep up targets for my team. Now, I did about 1,300 damage total in this map, but we won it, and I'd like to think that this is a big reason why. It was a bit of a sacrifice, but it had to be done. And that's just a little tip for this map in particular. You need to stay aware of that and be careful. Next, we're going to have a quick squiz at a FV4202. This is only 10 seconds worth, but this is the start of Dead Rail. Now, if you knock these trees over in the right manner, and then you pull up here, you'll now have got cover on both flanks from camo, and if you're using a net, no one's going to see you. You should be knocking trees over all the time in this game to set yourself up in cover. They're outstanding bushes. Once you knock them over, they'll up your camouflage percentage by 25-30%. Now, I find the medium gameplay in this game, World of Tank Blitz, intoxicating. That's why you'll see a lot of my videos are in medium tanks. On Oasis Palms, this is really important. The northwestern corner is outstanding for an accurate medium like the E50M with a very good gun to get to and dominate. But it's also one of the most popular spots for the Russian mediums, the T-54s, who like to get out and kick nice and quickly to get to as well. So I'm expecting there'll be a T-54 coming up the top here, and I'm not disappointed. They've also got a Pershing. I'm not fussed about him. I can handle him quite comfortably. But what I want to look at, I've pretty much done most of this game. I want to have a look at the tracking issue first. We talked about tracking earlier and how important it is, and how you can ram people to track them. I'm going to show you, once you ram them, you should hit them again. We're going to track this guy with ramming, do a bit of damage to him. We're going to pull back, we're going to damage him again. Now that damage there resets the timer on his tracks. He has to blow a kit to get through that. He then has to blow another kit there. You can see he's repairing. He's dead. It does damage, but it also keeps him stock still and lets these guys behind you put ammo into them as well. It's not just about you in this game. And you can see in this particular map, we've tracked him. Other people have helped us kill him. We've proximity spotted, or we will proximity spot anything that tries to come up on us here, and you can see people are trying to kill us. There's guys on the other flank who are having a crack. We're going to get one round in this Yag Tiger, and then rather than trade hit points, what we're going to do is keep his attention on us. He's going to have to turn to face us now, and we're just not going to give him a shot. You'll see there's still shell bursts going up all around us, because people from the other side of the map are trying to snipe us. And if we frustrate them moving back and forth, we're taking their attention away from teammates who may be susceptible to fire. We're also making it impossible for this Yag Tiger to support that T110E3. and he's been left out on a limb on his own. As a consequence, he's going to have to push and move forward, and it's going to set the table to take out one of the strongest pieces on the board for our team. You'll see here he comes up here. So it's important to distract. We're also going to load HE here. Good old cheap HE, because he's going to give us that tailpipe. We're going to get a 510 damage roll. You should always be looking when the opportunity presents to fire HE. Track him and move away, because we want to pick our own terms for this fight. That T110E3, I don't want to have to fight him on our own. I don't want to have to fight him frontally, nose to nose. I'd much rather have someone behind him, someone who's going to pump him. There's another guy coming in on the left. We're just going to go past him. We'll take damage, but it's only going to be one hit, and then we're in behind him, and he's cactus. So pick your spots. Just because you're in a medium doesn't mean that you have to try and circle of death everyone straight away, that you have to race around like a lunatic every time. A lot of it is just being patient, working through the map itself, working through the enemy tanks until you get to a situation where you can start using your tank the way you want to use it, which in this case is to snipe. E50M, one of the best snipers going around, and because they've got some good mediums on the flank there doing their jobs and spotting for us, we get to put round after round into the rest of the enemy team. So very important. We're going to have a look in a second at our final part of the video again, which is utilising the rest of your team. You're going to find yourself in public matches all the time where you might not be happy with the way the team is set up and what other members of the team are doing, but that's irrelevant. You can be unhappy and go home, or you can use what's in front of you to the best of your abilities, and if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. But I'll tell you what, if you actually play a bit smarter, you'll win a lot more often. So here we are on Castilla. Now, it's important to note in this game that you're going to play in a lot of matches without platoon mates and in public games where you don't have any real idea on why people are set up in the ways they're set up or what they're doing, and they're not doing it the way you'd like to do it. Don't whinge. Don't worry about it. Do your best to utilise what is on offer. And you can see in the top right corner of this screen is Kung Fu Tanks in an OBJ 268. He is set up in the perfect position to snipe down this road, but he needs someone to spot for him, and he needs to keep these tanks still and in a position where he can hit them. And that's what Plachina in the E100, who I'm platooning with, and myself are going to do. Now, rather than bugger off, because this is not the best place to be in for a medium, we're going to keep these guys busy. That means we're going to take some hits. It means we're going to do a little bit of back and forth, where we give a bit of damage to the enemy gives a bit of damage to us. But what it's also going to mean is that we've got them in the crosshairs of a tier 10 tank destroyer for some really murderous crossfire. Now you'll see in a sec, Kung Fu Tanks is going to take out his first victim, and we're getting hit, but we're also keeping all the enemy tanks right here in front of us. We're trying to track them, but when that's not successful, we're just trying to draw them around that corner. Kung Fu Tanks has now got the T110E5. The IS-7's going around the back. We dinked that one, I don't know how. Now, I would probably be well served to get out of here right now. Plachina's down, but I know if I keep this guy, this E4 here, then he's going to be a target of priority for Kung Fu Tanks. So I basically go here, rather than run away, I just want to basically keep this guy where he can be hit. That's the important part about this game. You may not be able to win the game on your own because you're not a freak, and I'm not a freak. There's very few of them out there. But if you utilise what's on offer, then you'll find that you win more often and you win easier. Whether it's tank destroyers like that, like Kung Fu Tanks, who's had 5 kills and done 4k damage, whether it's distracting an enemy tank and enemy snipers so that the rest of your team can be successful, whether it's taking the tracks out on a tank and letting everyone else finish it off. Don't think of kills and don't think of top guns and all those kind of flashy stats. Just think of what's the best thing you can do to help your team win. It could be scouting and picking up picking up tank spots for other people to shoot at. It could simply be holding a strong point and taking hits and getting yourself a steel wall without doing a lot of damage. If you think about the best way you can help your team, whether it's in a public or a platoon, you'll win a lot more often. Anyway, I'm Bushka on Blitz. Hope you enjoyed that one, and see you on the battlefield.